Nagbabalik na naman kami para magbigay sa inyo ng mga panibagong impormasyon at mga usaping napapanahon.
Siyempre, kasama pa rin namin kayo upang talakayin ang mga mahalagang diskusyong pangkabataan. Kaya halina't sabay-sabay na makialam dito lamang sa Iskoolmates!
Iskoolmates!
Isigaw ang tinig mo, ihayag sa buong mundo ang karapatan, kalayaan. Buksan ang isip mo, kaalaman ang yaman mo sa karapatan, sa kalayaan.
ASEAN o Association of Southeast Asian Nations ay isang regional association na binubuo ng 10 Southeast Asian countries kabilang ang ating bansa. Itinatag ito upang matugunan ang mga economic, security at political issues ng mga kasaping bansa. Malaki ang papel na ginagampanan ng asosasyong ito sa socio-economic growth at cultural development sa Asia-Pacific through its various programs and projects. It also empowers the people in the ASEAN to contribute in building a better ASEAN community. Ngayong buwan ay ginugunita natin ang ika-54 na anibersaryo ng ASEAN at makakasama natin si ASEC Juniver Mahilom West, Office of ASEAN Affairs ng DFA upang sagutin ang ilan sa ating mga katanungan patungkol sa kasulukuyang estado at mga plano ng organisasyon. 54 years na po ang ASEAN. Nasaan na po ba tayo in terms of achieving the goals of regional stability and economic growth in the Philippines?
Last August 8, we celebrated the 54th anniversary of the founding of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations. So, lampas na ng isang half a century ang existence ng ASEAN, and in all the time, ASEAN member states have been working together to achieve regional peace, economic development, and social progress for all member states of ASEAN and for the region. And during its 54th year, ASEAN is the most successful South-South regional grouping. And kasama yung European Union, one of the two most successful regional groupings in the world. I would like to quote si President Duterte in his ASEAN Day message this year, and I quote, "ASEAN is without doubt an indispensable institution for the promotion and preservation of peace and security in the Asia-Pacific region, and with its considerable market, talagang malaki yung market niya, and dynamic workforce, it is also an important economic hub contributing to global growth and development." So yung main purpose ng ASEAN is economic integration and growth. And nagkaroon na tayo ng ASEAN Free Trade Area simula noong 1992. This initiative was intended to create a single ASEAN market. Ang isa pa dyan, as a single regional bloc, ASEAN is the 5th largest economy in the world and is expected to become the 4th largest by 2030. Mapunta naman tayo dun sa political security matters, and let's focus on South China Sea. The Philippines is working closely with ASEAN member states and China on the resumption of the Code of Conduct in the South China Sea negotiations. Medyo na-delay yung negotiations on the COC because of the COVID-19 pandemic. And the Philippines, as past coordinator for ASEAN-China dialogue relations, pushed to proceed with discussion of substantive policy issues virtually. So lahat ng mga meetings were online kasi hindi na pwede yung mga face-to-face meetings because of travel restrictions. Tungkol naman sa progress in human rights, ASEAN has made notable achievements in the protection and promotion of human rights since the establishment of the ASEAN Intergovernmental Commission on Human Rights, or ICHR.
In the collaboration of these ASEAN countries, paano po ba ito nakatulong in fighting COVID-19 crisis?
Malaki kasi dito sa ASEAN, na-realize natin of course na yung kung nag-iisang bansa ka lang, hindi mo kayang harapin yung challenge ng COVID-19 pandemic and hope to even succeed. Kailangan talaga ito ng collaboration, regional solidarity, regional cooperation, at saka collective action na may coherence, na coordinated. Based on the premises that no single country can successfully battle the pandemic alone, and that no one is safe until everyone is safe. Due to these imperatives, ASEAN member states have worked even harder and quickly, as demanded by the times, to cooperate and develop instruments and projects addressing the effects of the pandemic and put the region on the path towards recovery.
Meron po bang mga initiatives or projects ang ASEAN na particularly para sa mga kabataan? Ano-ano po yung mga inisyatibong ito at ano po ang benefits na makukuha mula sa kanila?
The youth is a priority focus of ASEAN cooperation. Many initiatives focus on the youth within ASEAN aim to promote the sense of ASEAN belonging to the ASEAN and the ASEAN identity. To this end, the ASEAN senior officials meeting responsible for information, or SOMRI, the sectoral body handling ASEAN awareness and facilitation of greater information flow on the benefits of ASEAN developments, has a key role in building a sense of ASEAN identity in the region. Since effective communication is essential to raise awareness and promote our regional sense of self. To better navigate the information landscape, the sector is proactively implementing the ASEAN Communication Master Plan 2, covering the period 2018 to 2025. This is the framework for communicating messages about ASEAN's organization, development and vision to regional and global audiences. With communication increasingly occurring via digital platforms, how we communicate the message of ASEAN must also evolve. SOMRI and the ASEAN Committee on Culture and Information have also long promoted exchange of news and radio programs among broadcasters, and PTV is also a big part of this. There are also other steps that ASEAN takes to accelerate the establishment of a people-oriented and people-centered ASEAN, including more inter-country programs and people-to-people exchanges that convey a sense of our unity in diversity.
Ano naman po kaya ang mga normal na kabataan, kaming mga schoolmates? What can we do to help achieve the goals of ASEAN, particularly in promoting peace, stability, and development sa iba't ibang mga ASEAN member states?
As current and future leaders and catalysts for economic, social, cultural development, there is a need to invest heavily in programs and dialogue that involve our youth. Youth leadership development is considered one of ASEAN's high priorities and is one of the sub-goals of the ASEAN Work Plan on Youth for the period 2016 to 2020, focusing on 5 priority areas, namely youth entrepreneurship, youth employment, youth awareness, youth volunteerism and leadership, and youth resilience. In June 2020, ASEAN youth representatives presented to the leaders the most important and practical issues to both ASEAN youth and ASEAN leaders, namely youth volunteerism, youth entrepreneurship, and 4th Industrial Revolution skills for the youth. They will always have a voice and will be heard in ASEAN. The leaders also reiterated their commitment to create appropriate measures to ensure that ASEAN youth will continue to prosper in all aspects and make the best contributions to ASEAN community building and to the development of each ASEAN country. The ASEAN Youth seeks the ASEAN leaders' support for the creation of enabling environments for volunteerism, provision of regular platforms and inclusive mechanisms to recognize the outstanding achievements of the youth, and the establishment of an ASEAN Youth Volunteer Network. On youth entrepreneurship, the ASEAN Youth emphasized the need to have evidence-based youth employment policies and favorable mechanisms in the entrepreneur ecosystems, such as youth support centers, co-working spaces, and startups incubators. And third, on the fourth industrial revolution skills, the ASEAN youth are aware of their role in leading the post-COVID-19 recovery and pledge to advocate and raise awareness on the importance of investing and building relevant future-ready education systems of all forms, and focusing more on infrastructure investment. So those are the priorities. Those are the focus areas. And as I've said, the youth will remain to be one of the priority focus of ASEAN as it embarks as regional integration and community building goes on.
Maraming salamat po, ASEC Juniver Mahilom West, Office of ASEAN Affairs ng DFA. Schoolmates, marami pa tayong pag-uusapan kaya abangan nyo lang ang aming pagbabalik dito lamang sa Schoolmates.
Nagbabalik ang Schoolmates. Ngayon, binabatikos ang content creator na si Nusay Yasin. Mas kilala siya sa social media actually na Nas Daily. Nag-umpisa yung pagbabatikos ng mga Filipino netizens dito sa content creator daw na ito dahil nag-post yung apo ng isang tanyag na mambabatok na si Apo Wangod, kundi siya ay si Gracia Palikas. Sinasabi niya na hindi daw totoo yung pagkakaroon ng isang online workshop involving daw ng kanyang lola na mambabatok. Ayon daw sa post, hindi totoo na magkakaroon daw ng Wangod Academy at walang kasunduan daw na naganap sa pagitan ng kanyang lola at ng Nas Academy. Dahil dito, inulan ng samot-saring kritisismo ang accounts ng Nas Daily at ng Nas Academy and was accused of being exploitative at, yung Pinoy baiting or clickbaiting sa mga Filipinos daw para sa popularity.
That's right, Trisha. Pero bilang tugon naman sa mga paratang na ito, naglabas ang kampo ni Nas ng mga litratong nagpapatunay na mayroong nilagdaang kontrata di umano si Apo Wangod para sa nasabing online workshop. Itinigil rin muna ang operasyon ng Nas Academy sa bansa upang masolusyonan ang problemang ito sa legal at tamang proseso. Nagpaliwanag rin si Nas na hindi niya kailanman hinangad na iskamin ang mga Pilipino at nais lamang niya na ibahagi ang iba't ibang kultura ng mga Pilipino.
Di lang yan, Sky, pinaliwanag din naman ni Gracia, or tama ba Gracia yung pagbidyata sa pangalan niya, sa isa pang post na hindi raw naiintindihan or hindi raw naintindihan ng kanyang lola na si Wangod ang mga sinasabi ng mga translator noong panahon daw na yon, yung sinasabi pirma daw siya ng kontrata gamit ang kanyang thumbprint. At yung kanyang lola ay hindi daw mag-join ng Nas Daily for the workshop. Sabi rin niya, and I quote, "Our village concern is that some people are profiting and exploiting our art and culture." Ito, Sky, sobrang nag-explode talaga to sa iba't ibang platforms.
Definitely.
Diba? So, anong una mong masasabi regarding dito? Syempre, napakakilalang content creator. Or parang, actually, sabi sa mga YouTube videos, isa siyang marketing strategist daw. So, ano masasabi mo dito, Sky?
Well, coming from a background, arts and culture in the arts, ako graduate of speech communication and theater arts. So talagang napag-aralan namin iba't ibang mga kultura, iba't ibang mga sining at kultura. Ito yung buhay ko from college until now. Ito yung ginagalawan ko. And pagkakita ko ng balitang ito, I felt bad kasi sagrado ang pagtingin dito sa pambabatok na ito, itong form of tattooing is not it's not just nagpatattoo ka, modern art now, but in the culture, in the community of Whang-od, this is seen as very sacred, sagrado yung prosesong ito, sagrado itong pambabatok na ito, at it is only handed down from their line of family, di ba? From anak, apo, sa pamilya ni Whang-od, because this is tradition. We're talking about culture. We want to preserve this culture. And parang ang yung nangyari is nilabas ni Nas Daily, under speculation kung talagang pumayag or not. But my stand there is may language barrier, and Whang-od, how old is she? In her age, she doesn't know the digital world, how this works, this online workshop. She doesn't know. She's not well informed of these things. Regardless, sabihin niyang nag-sign, we have to see the unequal power relations na naman dito, how powerful Nas is compared to Whang-od na walang alam in the digital. So talagang, alam mo yun, na commercialize, na ginawang pinagkakitaan. Oo. Na naman, yeah. Because there's really that side na na-exploit yung kultura, yung sagradong kultura, and they profited on that kasi nagpabayad sila, na workshop ito, etc. Ikaw, Trecia, how did you react when this news came out?
Okay, so dun sa, parang sinabi mo, Sky, tama talaga yun. And yung una, bukod sa cultural commodification, makita natin yung parang the need for external validation. Kumbaga parang global validation, ika nga, ng mga Filipinos na kailangan ba natin talaga na i-share yung mga ganitong klase ng kultura. Although, I have nothing against na yung pag-share ng kultura natin. Pero we have to understand din na una, to respect the culture or to share the culture means to understand the culture first. Di ba, ang para sa kaalaman din ng mga schoolmates, yung itong pambabatok, it's unique to the But-But tribe sa Kalinga. So, tama yung sinabi mo na sagrado ito dahil hindi lang siya pagtatattoo. Kasama yung mga ritual, yung kumbaga actually mga sila parang seers, parang ganon yung dating sa kanila kasi may meaning yung bawat tattoo or symbol na inilalagay nila sa mga tao. And so makikita mo dito na hindi lubos na naiintindihan ng mga taong nagsasabi na gusto nilang i-share yung kultura natin. At hindi dapat natin yun parang ilimita doon lamang. Dapat tayo mismo, tayong mga Pilipino, hindi nga natin lubusang naiintindihan kung para ba saan to eh.
Aesthetic purposes lang. Right.
Totoo. So parang it's good to note na parang people are standing up to it. Pero what does this leave us? It leaves us to acknowledge na there is much to be done. Especially sa National Commission of Indigenous People. We are yet to hear kung ano nga ba yung parang points to be taken after dito. At to note lang na yung sinasabing kontrata, hindi nga siya nakasulat in kinalinggan na language. So how are we, diba?
There is something lost in translation, not only in translation, in the language itself. At saka hindi nga alam ni Whang-od ano tong Nas Daily. Hindi niya alam ano tong online. I mean, probably she doesn't know how it works with her age. I mean, giving it in that circumstances. And ano ba yung age niya? Siya lang, I mean, di ba, buong kultura ito, buong that tribe, the family. So, di ba, dapat take it into consideration din. That entire, the entirety of the culture. And then, yung sinasabi ni Trecia schoolmate na gustong ipalaganap nga itong kulturang ito is ipakita the rich, the colorful culture of the Philippines. But nagpapabayad ka to know how it is done? Is that the manner of showing such culture?
Kasi yung pangit, Pascal, di ba parang ibinibenta sa atin. Tayo mismo ng kultura nun. Ibinibenta sa atin yung kulturang dapat tayo mismo ang may alam. And to note hindi nga dapat lahat ay matuto ng pambabatok. No, kasi even amongst their tribe, hindi lahat ay pwede maging pambabatok. Kasi nga,
mga sa bloodline lang ni Whang-od. Diba? Sa bloodline na ipapasa.
Sabi nga daw ng parang isang I'm not sure kung anthropologist, I'm not really sure. Pero nakalimutan ko lang kung anong specific course na sinabi niya na hindi, even daw yung mga apo or mga anak ni Apo Wang-od ay hindi agad pwede maging mambabatok. Merong specific silang hurdle na kailangan kunin para makuha yun.
Which is part of the culture, diba? Which is part of the culture. And schoolmates, when I was in college, I'm part of a research team under Dr. Anril Tiatcod, now the chairperson of DSCTA. We go around the Philippines, we archive cultural performances, and parte ito nung mga cultural performances ng Pilipinas. We archive them, we learn, we experience, we archive them, and this is the way of showing ano yung kulturang meron doon, explaining what the culture is there. Hindi yung personally, hindi siya ipapakalat na anyone can be, because we should respect those cultures. We should know where we are positioned in those kind of cultures. So I'm happy sa mga sa naging desisyon ng ibang mga classes na under kay Nas, 'di ba? Si Catriona Gray, they stopped. Jessica Soho, they stopped. Kasi it's a bigger picture, and I hope they get to find the sanctions into this, kung paano nga ba. Pero Treasure, did you know 20 million sobrang nabawasan ang subscribers ni Nas Daily sa
yup. And you see na kada may sumasabog na bagong issue or parang bagong segment to that specific topic, parang lalong nababawasan. So it's more than just the unfollowing. It's being aware na hindi lang si Nas ang merong ganitong content itong Pinoy baiting na to. Marami ang parang ganito ang strategy kung saan parang they feed off that need na we need to be validated globally or to be seen as equals by profiting on our culture. So this is not the first time it happened. So
it's just magnified kasi mas sensitive kasi sensitive because it's a sacred culture. Unlike talagang totoo yung sinasabi ni Treasure, it's another topic altogether. Filipino clickbaiting using Filipinos kasi yung nagre-react silang sobrang laki pag nakita nila kumanta ito.
Diba?
Exactly. But now kasi this is culturally sensitive. This is culture treasure to eh. So I think that's the bottom of it, and I hope kung ano ang dapat mangyari sa mga dapat
at hindi lang siya dapat usapin so dapat the respective national commission should take parang responsibility
exactly
protecting our culture, di ba?
Tama, that's right, Treasure.
Syempre, schoolmates, gusto rin naming malaman kung anong naisip nyo regarding this topic, pero tutok lamang kayo guys para naman sa iba pa nating usapin na ihahatid namin sa inyo dito lang sa pagbabalik ng Schoolmates.
Malinaw na ang mga kababaihan ngayon ay to some extent are now more empowered, and they have reached this freedom na ipinaglalaban nila. They have now access to higher education and workforce na dati talaga ay pinagkakait sa mga kababaihan. Gayunpaman, malayo pa ang tatakbuhin at ilalaban natin together with the LGBT. Pero hindi nawawala ang isyung misogyny at sexism sa ating lipunan, pati na rin sa sports. Kaya ito ang pag-uusapan natin, Schoolmates. Noong nagsimula pa lamang ang Olympics noong 1896, hindi pinapayagan ng mga kababaihan na lumahok sa anumang laro. Pahayag ng nooy IOC founder na si Baron Pierre de Coubertin, Olympics with women would be impractical, uninteresting, anesthetic, and indecent. He also added that the games were created for the solemn and periodic exaltation of male athleticism with female applause as the reward. We have come so far, Treasure, but nakakaano pa rin pakinggan up till now. There are these type of people, no? And enabled by leaders. Nakakainis, Treasure.
Totoo. At syempre, bukod doon, tinagurian daw na first gender equal Olympic Games. Ito nga lang daw nakatatapos natin na 2021 Tokyo Olympics dahil sa pantay na bilang ng mga atletang lalaki at babae, maging ang equal visibility ng men and women's events. Oh, di ba nakakatuwa din yon? May ilan pa rin daw na nagsasabi na nariyan pa rin naman daw ang diskriminasyon dahil sa ilang mga conditions and restrictions. Nariyan din yung issue ng sexualization where female athletes were visually objectified with camera angles. Nako, nakita natin yung ilang mga ganyang samples actually sa YouTube. May marami akong kita dyan. Dahil male athletes nga daw. At kapansin-pansin din yung mga kasuotan ng mga babaeng atleta, mas revealing ika nga daw compared sa mga suot ng mga lalaking atleta. And a female athlete would feel uncomfortable and might feel distracted while performing in front of the crowd kasi nga she has to think about her outfit. Kita mo naman, di ba, sobrang tight fit, spandex, ganong uri yung mga suot ng mga atleta natin, whether or not she's flashing. So, while a male athlete would not even bother kasi, comfortable yung kanilang outfit. So, ano masasabi mo dito, Sky? Syempre, alam natin na it's an umbrella problem talaga yung gender equality even in the field of sports.
Ako, the last statement, this should not be an issue. It should be, ang suot nila, this is for comfort. This is ease to move because it's sports. You have to move and it's sad na pati yun yung camera angles, they still feed on these things. Just go, we're talking about capabilities, physical capabilities. And time has proven sex has nothing to do with gender, has nothing to do with it. So, alam ko malayo pa ang ipaglalaban. There are still people who think the same as the IOC founder before Baron na ganito. We have international leaders, sabihin na natin Trump, we have ayoko na lang mag-talk sa Philippines. We know the leaders na ganito ang pananaw, 'di ba? Na ganito ang pananaw sa kababaihan. And I hope it stops. I hope papunta tayo doon. But I have one point before I pass this to you, Tricia. Pero to be fair, 'di ba? Ito sinasabi mo kanina ng objectification. I don't know bakit yung napadaan lang sa sa feed ko. I don't know if it's objectification, pero ang dami din naman mga photos na ang cute neto, 'di ba? You'll see yung mga naka-underwear na guys. I mean, they are in an international stage. They are seen. Pero yung paghanga sometimes unknowingly to people, napupunta din sa objectification eh. Hindi lang yung dahil ay ang pogi niya, but sometimes even that ako I feel averse whenever I hear the term na ang sarap niya, ang sarap mo, regardless kanino sabihin, nakakadire. You don't say that. Ang masarap lang po pagkain.
Totoo yan, Sky. Sobrang nakakailang siya makita sa comments, no?
Yes!
Share na gano'n. Parang bukod doon, wala ka ng ibang napansin.
I mean,
ganyan,
magaling. Diba? Bakit masarap? I mean, okay, sige, looks, guwapo, maganda, mapapansin, but they're not the criteria in sports. But to go further, to objectify, kasi it happens not only to women, but also to other men. That's what I'm saying. But, syempre, mas experienced by women. Ikaw, Tricia, sporty ka ba? Have you played any sports before? Ng mga ganito?
Dati tinry ko lang mag-volleyball dahil daw may height. Pero alam mo, totoo talaga yung sinasabi nila na napakalaking responsibility ang maging isang atleta. Kasi yung mental health mo at saka yung physical prowess mo, talagang hand in hand yun. Kung hindi ka mentally okay, hindi ka makaka-perform well kahit anong sabihin natin. Di ba, it's a whole topic altogether na talagang na-magnify ngayon sa 2021 Tokyo Olympics, given nga na may mga ilang atleta na talagang nag-back out dahil nga sa ganitong issue na hindi nabibigyang exposure yung mental health ng mga atleta. At iisip lang nila kapag sinabi mo athletics, kailangan magaling physically. But di ba, it's really connected. And to note, Sky, talagang tama yung sinabi mo na itong mga na-experience na to, hindi naman to gender-based lang. Alam mo, meron din namang mga na-experience na ganito yung mga kalalakihan, yung parts ng LGBT QIA+ community natin na hindi ganon parang na, kumbaga na bibigyang ingay kasi mas prominent siyang nangyayari sa mga kababaihan. Pero hindi natin ini-invalidate yun. Just na talaga nangyayari siya. So talagang totoo yung sinasabi mo na hindi lamang dapat yung admiration to the parang physique, yung maging yung language din na ginagamit natin to express our
have to be
admiration
careful. Yeah.
Tama. At saka siguro to note na lang din, no, ano ba yung origin dapat ng Olympics, 'di ba? It's about physical prowess. It's also about showing performance, 'di ba? So hindi lang siya dapat sa katawan nakikita. At hindi natin sinasabi na katawan lamang ng lalaki ang tinitignan na best na gano'n. Pero although I might not know kung ano yung original or yung origins nga ng Olympics, pero kasi even then ang talagang sinasabi talaga na Olympians, 'di ba? Yung mga lalaki. So it's nice to know na we are having a change in the definition of what it takes to be an Olympian or parang an Olympics candidate, 'di ba? So parang maganda na maging topic pa siya for further conversations ng mga leaders, bukod sana hindi maging marami yung mga yung mga may kagaya ng sinasabi ng IOC founder, 'di ba? Na parang grabe yung pagda-downgrade sa mga kababaihan na hindi sila karapat-dapat sa ganitong klaseng platform. So it's really ewan ko ba, as spit to the face, 'di ba? ng mga nagsasabi ng ganito, yung pagkakapanalo ni Heidelin Diaz. So, hindi lang naman siya, 'di ba? Maraming mga women athletes yung talagang making a name out there in that international stage. So sana mas marami pa ang ma-encourage na sumali dito at ipakita na ang pagiging atleta ay hindi nababase sa kasarian, o 'di ba? Or sa gender.
It's actually the perfect platform to give importance to gender equality, because we're talking about skill, we're talking about dedication na pinagtrabahuan, etc. So I hope, 'di ba, lalo na itong pagkakapanalo ni Heidelin Diaz, first gold is a woman. First gold is a woman. Yun yung pakinggan natin. And sina Nesty, these are women who won sa larangan ng pampalakasan in the age of misogyny and sexism in our country and in the world. So mabuhay talaga sila.
Totoo. At 'di ba, tunay nga na babae ang bumuhat sa Pilipinas ngayon, no? 'Di ba, talagang napakagandang napakagandang tagline niya 'yon na nabanggit niya. And syempre, dahil nabanggit din natin yung mga good things or positive things, on the brighter side, ito naman, isang binatilyo naman daw ang nagpamalas ng kanyang katapangan nang iligtas niya ang isang asong na trap sa ilog. So, from bravery in sports, ito naman bravery in saving a life, 'di ba? Hindi inalintana ng binatilyo si Angelo Flores ang ulan at malakas na ragasa ng tubig nang buwis buhay niyang sagipin yung asong inanod sa ilog. Nakuna naman ni Margole I'm not sure, Margole Miko ang ginawang kabayanihan ng binata, at di nagtagal ay naging viral ito sa social media dahil dito nakatanggap siya ng scholarship, bagong smartphone at groceries mula sa Animal Kingdom Association bilang regalo at pagkilala. Pero to be fair ito muna, Sky, gusto ko lang i-segue yung pagligtas sa mga hayop ang daming kumakalat sa social media ngayon ng mga animal rescue, mga non-profit organizations na talagang for animals. So you have Potion Project, Animal Rescue.
Right.
So parang makikita natin dito na the dog might be a stray, pero to be parang placed in that dangerous situation it says a lot about how many Filipinos parang still take parang yung pag-aalaga sa mga hayop as parang a sideline topic lang, 'di ba? So parang ngayon
taken for granted.
Yung mga issues sa mga strays, ganyan. Parang ang dami natin gustong ipa-rescue ng mga hayop, pero tayo mismo hindi tayo mga responsible pet owners, hindi tayo mga hindi natin pinag-iisipan na parang isinop natin yung mga alaga nating aso. Kasi sobrang before this marami akong nakita sa Instagram na mga projects na ayan, kagaya niyan yung Potion Project, 'di ba? Na parang ang dating tuloy is iniaasa na lang namin sa mga ganitong organisasyon yung pagsagip sa mga hayop or pag-alaga sa mga hayop. So sana mas marami pang mga identities kagaya nito ni Angelo Flores na equal yung human life sa animal life in a sense. Okay? Na parang bigyan din natin ng importansya itong mga alaga natin dahil hindi sila nakakapagsalita. Alam mo yun? Parang if they could talk, we would probably weep, 'di ba?
You know, I'm a very ano tawag dito?
Ikaw, di ba may alaga ka?
I'm very new to the parenting world of pets. Bata ako sa ilang months? 4 months? 6 months of taking care of my cats. Eto nga hindi niya kaano-ano yung stray dog. Niligtas niya. And ako matatakot ako personally, baka kagatin ako, nasa stressful distressed yung aso, tapos sasagapin mo baka ikaw pa kagatin, etc. But it goes beyond that. Ang ganda na tinulungan niya. But to us as people, I was talking to a friend the other time. 'Di ba paano pag yung nagkakabaha, tapos syempre ililigtas mo yung sarili mo, ililigtas mo yung mga gamit. I hope we don't forget, for example, yun nga, iligtas yung mga pets natin. Nakakalungkot kasi syempre 'di ba kasama natin yung mga tas naiiwan yung iba. So let's be responsible pet owners. These are family as well, nakasama natin. Kahit maldita yung mga pusa ko at natulog sila ngayon sa cat condo. So ayun, at saka yung adopt, don't buy. As much as I mean, if I know syempre meron yung mga for collection, they want for aesthetic, ganyan. But if you're looking for a pet, for a companion, there sa mga friends nyo, you know, adopt instead na bumili. And then if hindi mo kayang alagaan yung mga pets na yon, kapon, you know, neuter or spay mo your pets para hindi dumami, at kung hindi mo naman kayang alagaan, para hindi lang nasasayang yung buhay.
I agree. Tama ka talaga dyan. At sana mas marami pang, you know, maging advocates for animal rights. Kasi sobrang, ito bukod sa yung mga tao, di ba? Yung mga tao kayang magsalita, kayang i-defend yung mga sarili nila. And going back to that, hindi nila kayang protektahan yung mga sarili nila. So parang tayo na may kaya, tayo yung magsalita for them. Tayo yung lumigtas sa kanila kasi hindi naman nila din, di ba? Kahit pa sabihin mo na parang family na natin yan, ganyan. And they are, to them, we are the family that they know.
Right.
Diba? So parang kailangan natin bigyang halaga yung buhay ng mga alaga natin. At syempre ng mga hayop din na, for example, yung mga stray na ganyan, kung kaya natin, di ba? Let's adopt, tama yun. Adopt and don't shop. So talaga namang napakagandang parang way to end then our topics, di ba, no, Sky? And kaya naman, with that, sa bawat usapin, sa bawat issue, may boses tayong mga kabataan.
Sumali, makinig at makiisa dahil opinion nyo'y mahalaga. Ginising ko po sila, nagwawala po sila ngayon.
Kaya naman, sabay-sabay natin isigaw sa buong mundo, Schoolmates!
May
Pakialam ka!
Isigaw ang